Goed, Gr12 is het gister gekom, ek het die memo gevind van hierdie toets. Ek gaan gewoon net vir julle 'n paar antwoorde wys. Ek wil fokus op die gelyktydige oplossing. Daar's redelik baie punte en daar gaan definitief, as daar nie Vrydag se toets so een is, ek gaan daar definitief in die ander toetse vraestel een wat julle nog gaan kry volgende kwartaal of in September of selfs einde van die jaar, gaan daar definitief gelyktydige oplossing wees, né? Simultaneous equations is definitely going to be there. Now, I found a memo here, and I want you to check quickly just because if you got to the right answers. So you were supposed to get for x is equals to 4/5, and then the other possible answer for x was 4, and then if you substitute that into, you get y is equals to -22/5, and or you can write it as 4 and 2/5. I would have left the answer, that's negative though. I would have left the answer as this, and then for where x is equals to 4, y is equals to 2. So good job if you got the answers. Remember to write your answers clearly for the examiner. You're not getting marks for that per se, but it just shows that you are presenting your work neatly so that the examiner understands it. All right. Your question was 3,2. Question 3.2. Let's first go through the question. I'm not going to do all of the questions right now. So question number 3.2. The sum of the first three terms. All right. The sum of the first three terms of a converging geometric series, which all terms are positive, is 2, 4, 2. If the first term is 1,600, determine the first three terms of the row. Okay, let's see if we have the memo answer for this one. So you need to analyze the sum of the first three. So that means S3 is equals to 2, 4, 2, 5. Then they say the first term, so A or T1 is equals to 1,600. No? So we can now go write that. There we have S3, but we can also write that as S3 is also term 1 plus term 2 plus term 3. So that means we don't have the ratio. So the ratio is currently unknown there. All right, so all we have to do is we have the answer to the first three, the sum of the first three. Now we write it. The first term is just that. The second term will be this multiplied with the ratio, and the third term will be the first term multiplied with the ratio times 2. And in essence there, what do you see there, people? We see a quadratic equation where we are going to solve R. And R, yes ma'am. Now we have a equation here, and then we take the 2,425 over. So that's going to be 1,600 minus the 2,425, and then I get that answer. And now I am going to solve the quadratic equation. You can use the discriminant or the quadratic formula there, but just remember you're solving in terms of R. And then we have two possible answers for R. We have -11/8 or 3/8. But now if you go back to the information that they read, the information said it's converging, and what else it's converging? What else? All the terms of positive. All right. So that should actually be not applicable here, because that's going to be a negative answer. All right. And furthermore, this is also going to give you it's not in the within the restrictions of a converging series. All right. So now, what was the question? Let's go back to the question quickly. Determine the first three terms of the row. So we now, Michelle, we have done all of the work. But we need to go determine term 1 is 1,600, term 2, if you go calculate that, term 2 times what is going to be 600, and term 3 is going to be 225. So in essence, once again, not so. It is actually a very, very simple question if you go and read. And the secret here, guys, is reading, no? And analyzing, reading with comprehension. Reading with comprehension. Okay. Question number 5. In the sketch, f of x is equals to 3x squared and g of x is equals to 2x plus 1 are shown. Now, f of x is your quadratic function. As we can see there, it's the green one. And g of x is the straight line. What I would do normally for myself, I would write down the values. Like there, I know that value, even if it's not given, I can see that value is 1. No? This value is 0. And now the first question they ask me, determine the coordinates of the intersection points of f and g. Now I want you, question number 3.1, 5.1, they're actually asking you determine that coordinate and that coordinate. Alright? How do I do that? Anyone? Aluluto? I'm going to equate f of x equals to g of x. Let's see what happens if I do that. Alright. Here we go. Here you go. Remember I asked you to paste this, or even if you're not going to paste it now, paste it in the middle of a new page and then try to work around, write the answers around it. We're messing with your brain a little bit. We're working on the other side of your brain so that you can actually use more of your brain. It's an experiment and brain. Because some of you tend to forget, no? So we're trying to make it more creative now. Question number, so we equate the equations like that. Please take note here. You can see this, it's 3x squared is equal to 2x. Bring the terms over. Take note, the sign changes. It's the small stuff. It's sometimes not that you cannot use the mathematics, but you are the small stuff that we are forgetting that is costing us a lot of marks. We have that there. We can factorize this, factors of the first term, factors of the last term, cross multiply, and it's supposed to give you that. But if you go back to the question read points of intersection. So they're looking for not only x values, also the y values. No? So you need to substitute the x values into the equations, and you can choose the easiest equation. I think I choose g, and then you get this. So your answers is supposed to, normally if they wrote A and B, then you would have written here the card A and B. But there is no letters for the coordinates, right? What is important? You see, I wrote down my answer. At that point, I thought in my mind I was done. But I went back to the question, read it again, make sure what was the actually asking for? Coordinates. So I needed to work out the x as well as the y values. Cool. Now I want you to go mark it on your sketch and write down the coordinates. Alright, so mark it on your sketch there. Then while you are copying this, I am reading the next question. It says determine the equations of the inverses of f of x and g of x. How do we determine the inverses again? We interchange x and y. Now you need to do this for both. And you can can see there's 4 marks. I'm going to leave you to try it on your own first. If you're done copying this, first try it on your own. No? And see what you get. Good. So, guys and girls, everyone, your answers are supposed to look like this. It's 2 marks for the inverse of F and then 2 marks for the inverse of G. It's still the same answer. No? If you wrote x over 3, that's the same as x a third times 3. It's the same answer technically. And then, so make sure you got those answers, no? And then try to do the sketch. The easiest way to do the sketch, remember, work from the original graph and then just change the coordinates that you have the whole time and plot them there. Okay, you can do the sketch on the page if you want to, if that space is enough or sufficient for you, or you can do it in your book.